Kurtis Rourke, otherwise known as the Maple Missile. Welcome to the show.
I appreciate you having me. Thank you.
Tell me about the origins of that nickname, the Maple Missile.
I believe it came from when I was at Ohio. The social media team kind of tweeted it out one time, just come up with creative nicknames, I guess, and Maple for being from Canada, and then the Missile just being a
Mm-hmm.
quarterback, and so I think it's pretty creative.
Well,
Yeah,
let's keep it going. I'm going to call you the Maple Missile
yeah.
from now on when I refer to you. So Indiana off to a 6-0 start with you at quarterback. Best start for the Hoosiers since 1967, which was also the last time the Hoosiers went to the Rose Bowl. Now you guys are college football's first bowl eligible team. What factors do you believe had contributed to Indiana's early success so far this year?
Yeah, I just think we're really complementing each other on all aspects. Our defense is playing really well. Offensively, I think we have a ton of talent that's able to rotate in a ton, and so that's contributing a lot to our success. Just being able to get the ball in playmakers' hands has been a big key for sure. And then just trusting each other. We've competed against each other all fall camp. Gone against really one of the best defenses. I think maybe the best defense we've gone through all fall camp. So everything that we've seen this season, it hasn't been new. And so just being able to trust that, we're going to be able to make plays. Our defense is going to be able to get stops, and just relying on that and knowing that. So.
Well, you're completing 74% of your passes so far, averaging nearly 300 yards per game passing, 14 touchdowns, just 2 interceptions. You've twice been named the Big Ten's Player of the Week so far this season. You've clearly elevated your game since arriving in the Big Ten, and your coach points to your level of experience and maturity. But what do you attribute this big jump to in production, despite playing against arguably tougher competition and playing with a brand new team with a whole new set of people that you don't really know?
Yeah, I mean, coming in January, it was definitely a new scene. Got to get to know a lot of new teammates, new program, new, game plan, scheme, and all that. And so it was definitely a challenge. But the good thing about having so many new transfers coming in is that you're all doing it together. You're all learning, the whole offense together. And so that really helped build chemistry a lot faster than I think it normally would have. And so I realized quick that I had a ton of great talent around me on the whole offense, and offensive line has been awesome so far. And so I just didn't want to overthink anything, kind of just, do what I can, do my job to get the ball in the hands of playmakers, let them do the rest. And I think it's been evident that we got players all around that
Mm-hmm.
can just go do that and help the team out just by getting the ball in their hands.
You guys are averaging nearly 48 points per game. This is clearly one of the nation's best offenses. Tell me about Indiana's offensive scheme and how it plays to your strengths as a quarterback.
Yeah, I think it's the way that Coach Shanahan calls the plays is really impressive. The way it's designed by him and Coach Tino. I think it's one of those offenses that has answers to everything, and so you're not just going out there hoping that you're gonna be against this certain coverage. It has answers to all of them, and just being able to recognize that and understand that whatever defense we're going against or on that play, there's an answer to that.
Hmm.
And I think that's a lot of what goes to our success, but also goes to just the fact that we can rotate so many guys in and they can have such a good impact.
Mm-hmm.
There's not really a ton of drop off, if at all,
Yeah.
in our quote unquote second string kind of
Right.
thing. And so I think we can just always have fresh legs, and always keep going on. So.
You seem to have great on-field chemistry with your receivers, especially Elijah Surratt. And 4 of the top 5 receivers in the rotation are also transfers. How did you get on the same page with those guys in the offseason so fast?
Mm. Yeah, just getting reps, really. Elijah was one of the guys that came over from JMU, had been in the system for a little bit, and so he was a big part in helping getting all the transfers and all the new guys up to speed to kind of how the offense is run. And so I spent a lot of time with him in the off season, especially the spring, and just getting to know, the offense as a whole kind of
Mm-hmm.
thing, and what the timing would be like. And he did such a great job. bringing everyone up to speed as well. Not just me, not just the quarterbacks, but the whole receiver room as well.
Hmm.
Because ultimately he wanted to win, and the more we're on the same page, the better chance we have to do that.
You grew up in a suburb of Toronto. What's football like in that area, and what motivated you to focus on becoming a quarterback?
Yeah, ever since I was young, I've loved watching football, loved playing sports in general, but football really spoke up to me and really found a passion for football early. It's not as popular as it is in the United States, but it was still offered, and it was still a great opportunity to play and enjoy it. And from a young age, I knew I wanted to play football as long as I could. And so, we were just able to create those memories and everything growing up. And quarterback was something that I enjoyed for so many different reasons. The opportunity for leadership, the fact that, you can, a lot of the offense runs through the quarterback. You get to touch the ball every single play. It's just those aspects and that, I really, enjoyed and have carried on until, today's day. So,
You like to be right in the thick of things when it comes to football, huh?
yeah,
Yeah, we've seen
absolutely. Yeah.
a lot of great athletes coming out of Toronto and the surrounding area over the years. Why do you think there isn't more attention paid by that area uh, by American recruiters?
I think just geographically, it's sometimes hard to get to, and I think it's also something that's still growing in competitiveness. A lot of those great Canadian football players end up transferring and going up to do a prep school in the United States
Hmm.
just to get that exposure because it's been so hard. But I truly think it's becoming a lot more popular and to go recruit in Canada because there's a couple of gems hidden in there, and that football is becoming more popular, just even in high schools and everything like that. So yeah, I think it's tough because it's kind of out of the way, but again, I think it's going to be getting more and more popular to start recruiting in Canada for sure.
Did you guys ever go across the border into like Niagara and all that when you were growing up?
My during my years there, my high school never did, but some surrounding high schools did. I think my brother did as well when he was playing there
Hmm.
just a couple times.
You followed your older brother Nathan to the University of Ohio. Was there ever any doubt that you were going to go there? And what other schools did you consider?
Yeah, it was just like we talked about it coming from Canada. It's hard to get recruited, and so combine that with I hit my growth spurt a little bit later. Looks wasn't really I wasn't really getting as many looks as those you could hope for,
Hmm.
but thankfully I had a lot of I had my foot in the door with my brother already being at Ohio. And so I was able to get some interest from Ohio, obviously, but also some other MAC schools, just kind of because Nathan did so well and was doing well those years, so they kind of heard of the name. And so I attribute a lot of my opportunity to get and play Division I to my brother because he was able to set such a good example and also let me kind of get my foot in the door,
Hmm.
like I mentioned. And so Ohio was one of the best schools in the MAC, anyways. And so even if I had every offer, in the MAC, I think I would have chosen Ohio,
Hmm.
anyways. Just especially at that time, all the consistency that they've had in the history. The coaching staff, Coach Solitz was there at the time. He was the one that recruited me, and so um, that ultimately spoke to me and why I wanted to go there. And also the opportunity just to play with my brother and for that one
And
year.
you had to know that the MAC had the reputation as cradle of quarterbacks, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I mean, good quarterbacks coming out of there. Obviously, Big Ben being the main one,
Hmm.
but yeah, they fostered some good ones for sure.
For 7 straight seasons, Rourke was quarterbacking the Bobcats, which is a pretty cool stat, I think. Given that background
Yeah.
and history, how difficult was the decision to leave Athens in the first place? And what factors eventually led you to go to Indiana?
Yeah, it was definitely a hard decision because I created so many relationships, so many memories, and connections with not just people and my teammates, but just the town as well. They had their arms open ever since I got there, and so it was definitely hard leaving. But I knew that for a business standpoint, from a football standpoint, it was the best decision for me to try to look elsewhere and look to play football somewhere else. And so when I entered the portal, had a good amount of calls, but Indiana spoke out to me really, talking to Coach Tino the one day, and then later on Coach Signetti, just their vision and kind of what their blueprint was for this first season. They were still packing up and getting ready to move to Indiana, but still wanted to lay clear about what their vision was, what they had in mind for this year. And that kind of aligned with kind of what my thoughts were.
Yeah.
And so it was a real clear choice for sure.
Seems like that vision is coming into being. What do you like most so far about living in Bloomington and playing for the Hoosiers?
Yeah, I love the town. I mean, especially as the season's gone on, the town has really bought in and has shown, immense support. I mean, we look at the 2 away games that we've had this year, all the way in California, the Rose Bowl, and then last week at Northwestern. Both games felt like home games.
Mm-hmm.
We traveled so well. Indiana fans have been nothing but amazing, and so just the way that they've accepted and supported IU football this year, just couldn't be more grateful. And so that's probably my favorite thing about this town, because they're just so into it, and I love that.
Yeah, I was curious about that because Indiana is historically known as a basketball school.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of buzz is there on campus right now? Are you walking around and people are? I mean, you haven't been there that long, but are people starting to recognize you and saying, "Hey, that's Kurtis Rourke"?
Yeah, sometimes I'll have a couple people recognize me and say something, but for the most part, I try to lay low and just try to focus on the next week. But I love hearing about the buzz, because that this town is like I said, a great sports town, and I'm glad we'll be able to give them some football excitement for a little bit.
You got married back on February 17th of this year to Carolyn Clippard, who played volleyball for the Bobcats. Congrats on nearly 9 months of marriage. How's married life treating you so far?
It's awesome. I couldn't be more happy to be married to Caroline. She's outstanding. She's one of my biggest supporters, and someone that I just love being able to share life with and go through life with. And she's become an IU fan real quick, and it's been just a blessing in my life for sure.
That's awesome. Back to football. You guys just got off a bye week. We're recording this in Thursday, but people are listening to this coming into the next Saturday's game. The back half of the schedule is going to get a bit more difficult. What's the mentality of the team right now as you prepare to host Nebraska?
Yeah, obviously the second half is the most important half of any season, and so we're definitely not taking any of it lightly. But we're just trying to stay consistent and not get complacent. We've had a good start to the season, but we're basically just starting a new season now, and going into it ready to continue doing what we do, not try to overthink anything, and just prepare like we do for every single week.
Mm-hmm.
We always have the mentality of going 1-0, and not worrying about the past season or past weeks, and really just trying to attack that week, the same speed, same mentality, and kind of just get ready as we can for Saturday.
And we can't have a Heisman podcast without talking a little bit about the Heisman. When did you first become aware of the award, and who were some of the past winners that you really enjoyed watching?
Yeah, I've been a college football fan for a while. Always loved watching it growing up, and so I've been pretty aware of the Heisman Trophy and just being able to acknowledge and recognize all the great players. I date back to the Heisman Trophy with the Peyton Mannings, the Ryan Leafs, the Randy Mosses, and surprisingly, none of them ended up winning that year.
Yeah. So
it's kind of one of the trophies that awards that is quite an honor. And so just to be recognized in that, I'm very, very honored. Just look forward to the next half of the season. So.
Well, thank you, Kurtis Rourke, for coming on the official Heisman Trophy podcast. Good luck against Nebraska, and good luck to you and your team the rest of the season.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.